Hey, what's up? Welcome to Degen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts, like the chart behind me, which is of OKLO, which is Oklo? I'm not really sure. I saw Colin Gladman go over the chart a little bit in a video put out yesterday, and I've seen a good amount of chatter about it on X, really just a few weeks ago. And so I feel like it could be going up. So I kind of wanted to look over some options data and yeah, just look over the chart. So hopefully you guys are interested in that. And yeah, I also have to say, happy Sunday. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Hopefully you're having a nice kind of holiday week. I've been at work the past few days and it's just been incredibly slow, very boring. I'm very excited for Monday trading, and then there's also, let's see, half day trading on Tuesday for Christmas Eve, and markets close Wednesday for Christmas, and then we got Thursday and Friday. And so, my understanding of weeks like this, just like Thanksgiving week, is there's light volume, so things can kind of float up. And a saying from that I heard from Gareth Soloway is when something about when the cats are away, the mice go out to play, something like that. And so effectively, larger players in the market are probably taking like a holiday vacation, and but retail's still going to be here, and so I think retail generally has a bias to the upside, and so things will likely be going higher. So I think we could be seeing a pretty nice green week. That's also why I included the little mouse with the cookie on the thumbnail, because all was quiet in the house. No creatures were stirring, not even a mouse. Whatever that Christmas thing is, that poem. I don't have kids, so I've forgotten a lot of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, there are going to be mice stirring. Retail's going to be stirring, so I think that we could see some nice price action this week. And yeah, and also if you're new to the channel, I do try to do ticker requests live every Sunday at 9 p.m. Sometimes I miss it just because I'm tired or something comes up. But yeah, I'm trying to do it every Sunday. And I don't have work tomorrow, so I can stay up a little bit later. But I am tired because I've been at work. And I will cheers you guys in a second. I'm just going to see what people are writing in the chat. And Horatio, what's up? I am good. I have a very light week with work. I just have to work on Thursday, 12-hour shifts. So that kind of sucks. And yeah, I'm not doing anything too crazy for Christmas. I'm just going over to my mom's place and FaceTiming my brother. My brother's in LA, so I can't. It'd be nice to. Usually, I try to go to LA for Christmas or in December, but didn't get to this year. So that'll be nice. I'm excited for some of the gifts that I got them, so that should be fun. I'm much more of I enjoy giving gifts. I don't really enjoy receiving them. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited about the options video that I just put out. I've been putting out over every Saturday. And I'm really excited, anticipating some Chinese stimulus in the next few weeks. I think that'll send Neo higher, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, I mean, I'm just I'm going to be enjoying this late week of work, late work week. And let's see, happy Sunday, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm always very confused about the day because I'm on like a 2 week rotation where I work 7 days over the course of 2 weeks, and so I'm usually confused about what day it is, and so it like feels like it's Friday, but it's Sunday, so it's kind of my head's spinning a little bit. But I'm excited about the market to be open. It's always fun to have Monday off, so I can enjoy that. And Saul saying happy Sunday, fun day, yeah, of course. And QBTS, I'll throw that up here. That was like requested last week. And I think like Qubit and some other ones. This is D-Wave Quantum, a big sector right now. And then also Hydro Hustla. What's up, Hydro Hustla Nursery? How's it going? Yeah, I'll definitely throw Lucid up here. And Horatio is saying, if you want a good laugh, do Canoo. Yeah, I actually I'm not sure what it was. I think because I go over Blink frequently, Benjamin's always asking for that. And, similar to it, I'm in charge point, and I've just kind of realized that, if something is trading up with uptrending resistance above it, it's still likely to go higher. So, you can never time the top. And then same with if it's trading below downtrending resistance or above it, whatever, it's still going down. And, I feel like ChargePoint, Blink has been in that kind of area. Canoo has been very similar, but maybe there's a surprise. I'm not sure. That's GOEV, right? It's been a while since I've looked at it like closely. And yeah, little stock that broke my heart. Yeah, I mean, I've had I feel like for me, like I had a Lordstown Motors that was like probably 4 years ago. Learned a hard lesson with that. Then also learned it with Fisker. Like I wasn't in Fisker. I saw that it went down a lot one day, thought, there'd be some attention on it. So I did a video on it. Those ended up being pretty popular videos. I started following it, but it was just like following downtrending resistance. Or maybe it was support, but it was downtrending. And then after covering it for a month, it's like, well, it's gone down enough. I think I'll get into it. Got into it, lost a good amount of money with that. Not a huge amount though. I'm my biggest trade right now, most amount of money in it is AMC, but that's like pretty passive, and I'm not waiting on it or anything. I accepted that's going to be a longer term hold. And then also more recently, Biora Therapeutics, that they just got delisted. I pulled the plug on that after they had a reverse split, I think, and yeah, I left at around $2 a share, and it went to like pennies. So yeah, it happens, but as long as we learn lessons from those things, I was fortunate from the recent Fisker experience to recognize with Biora. Wait, is it Biora Therapeutics? Yeah, that time to pull the plug. And so I did, and so I had learned the lesson from those experiences. So it's tough, it sucks when it happens, but accepting losses is like one of the toughest things, and in the past I've accepted losses, right around bottoms. I'm ashamed to say I had a good amount of Palantir a while ago and I sold near the bottom. Would have been too long of a hold for me, but if I would have just held, I'd be in a better position, And then let's see, Lucid, I see that, Canoo. And KC, is that a ticker? KC, Kingsoft Cloud Holdings. Yeah, I'll throw that up there. And before I get going too crazy with the list, because I might forget some of them, it does happen. Before I forget this, cheers to all of you guys. Happy Sunday. Hopefully the weekend was great. Hopefully you have a nice light week of work. If not, have the week off for Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, happy whatever holiday you're celebrating. For me, I always found the whole, don't say Merry Christmas thing to be kind of odd because I'm not religious. And and so for me, Christmas is just about, being, like having a lighter spirit, just being nice to people and being thoughtful, thinking about gifts for people. And really, it's just about kids. It's about, and cats, kids and cats with the bright lights, the trees, presents, it's about family, friends, loved ones. So cheers to, all of you guys for hanging out. It's been, I have to say, I plan on working on it, starting tomorrow and Tuesday. I'll have it out around Christmas. But a video, just going over some of my background because I think some of you guys are interested in it. Most probably not. But just to share, where I'm coming from. My career is not in finance or anything, or my past career, I should say. And yeah, I was planning on doing that around Thanksgiving, just thinking about, stuff I'm thankful for. And given that I've had pretty big career change, it's like kind of a struggle to think about, being thankful for that prior career. But yeah, I wanted to share some of the things related to it that I'm thankful for. So, but yeah, cheers. Before I continue rambling too much, cheers to you guys. I made that one very nice tonight. Sometimes I do them a little too strong, so other times a little too not so strong. So that was perfect, old fashioned. And so. Sweet, lovely. I'll definitely throw up. Let me know which one you'd prefer, LAES or CLOV, and then I'll try to throw it up there. And yeah, I mean, I guess I can skip OKLO if you guys are not interested in that. I'm probably going to go over it for my own interest, probably maybe not during a stream, but just because I wanted to look at the options data, because my understanding of it is it's has a lot of potential to the upside. And also just like look at the MACD here. It's just been red for so long. This looks like a big bull flag, so that looks exciting. So I'm really interested to look at the options with it. So if you guys are, I can do that, but I'll go on the list so I don't forget stuff. And let's see. So Saul has QBTS, so I'll go over that one first. And so this is D-Wave Quantum. I think it's like quantum computing. Yeah. Also, BlackBerry, I nailed that one. I'm so proud of myself. I think I posted it on X, and somebody was like, "Is it 1999?" And 1999 is when the Matrix came out. So I posted a GIF of Neo flying or something, and then also Neo, the car company. So I'm just excited about this stuff. But anyways, QBTS. This to me, in my view, I feel like you guys know by now, when stuff goes up like this, I don't really want to get too involved. And this, I feel like this could definitely be going higher. I really have no idea. But I think what is really healthy when a big move like this happens is something like this consolidation. And this consolidation, these are the daily candles. We look at that. That is, basically 2 months of consolidation. So for something like got the news here. Don't want that. The QBTS, I mean, it's possible this could trade sideways for a little while, but it could just be like a week or so, like what we saw here, so it's like a big up move, consolidates for a week, big up move, consolidates for a week. But here, moved up notably higher. Maybe not as far as percentage wise goes, but pretty big move up, but then also a pretty big down move here. So this was on 19th. So this was on Thursday, not directly following the FOMC. So the 19th here, almost 29% down on the day. And so, with the FOMC, it's like, started here on the 18th, went up, and then closed, even with that bearish news or the sell-off in the market, down 6.67%, up 6.67%, but then kind of putting in this big wick up here up to 1050. So that seems like maybe topping tail, then a very big bearish engulfing candle on Thursday. Now though, on Friday, it does look like, it bounced a little bit, put in an inverted hammer candle. Things that I don't like about that though, and that's also kind of like thinking about hammer candles, there's a very small wick to the downside, big wick to the upside. So, it suggests like this downside momentum has kind of been abated. It's stopping here, but it couldn't get a push up. It was sold off as it moved higher, so then closed here. But yeah, up 1.1% on Friday. Maybe it's finding a bottom there, but I feel like, with this kind of pattern, up a little bit, consolidation over week, up a little bit, consolidation over week, up a little bit. That's a pretty big pullback. That's not really consolidation in the same way that it was over here. So I feel like this is kind of risky at this point. And so I'm just going to, let's say this was, a move to the upside and then it settled. So I'm going to go from the low over here up to that high, do a Fibonacci retracement, see what some levels are. So that's going from a low of 75 cents up to the high of 1050. Looks like I only have the 100% on there, so I'll add, 786, 618, 50. And yeah, it pulled back to the 50%. So, I think it's good that it did pull back to that level and it did bounce from it. That's at 563. So this could, go from that level, go to the upside. But it is possible, though, that it could come down to the 618 around 450. And, I guess, what I could see happening, I kind of, like with OKLO, just this consolidation for a little while. And, let's actually look at this going from, let's see, the move to here what happened with this OKLO. This is 535 low up to the high here. So it didn't pull back to the 50%. But up here, let's see, almost, nearly. So that, I'm just kind of doing a little comparison there. QBTS did pull back to the 50%. See, I guess, as long as it's closing above the highs from here, I think that looks like it could continue higher. And yeah, so I mean, this could definitely be going higher, but excuse me, I wouldn't be surprised if it, just like OKLO, consolidate for, a month. This is like the end of January over here, so it's not a terribly large amount of time, but, this could be bouncing. It did, following this pullback, it did. I'm just going to change these, the color and shading and stuff. Yeah, so I mean, I guess I'd like to see that, but it could be bouncing, from this level as it didn't pull back to the highs here. So I think it looks potentially good, but after this big move, could be coming down to 450. I doubt it would be coming down to around $3 at the 786. But if it did right around $3, there would be, I would think, a good amount of support there because you got this kind of like double top here and also this top over here around 240. So in that range, I think there would be a ton of support if it started to break below 450. But yeah, I mean, I think that this would look really good for a continuation to the upside. But yeah, I mean, I think that quantum, I posted this on X referring to QuantumScape, which is solid state batteries, not quantum computing. I feel like quantum computing is the AI for 25. So I think that this bigger picture could perform very well. So yeah, I mean, and with the retracement of the 50%, I think that there are some downside levels, but more broadly, I think this could perform really well into the in the new year. So yeah, and also looking at the RSI, or sorry, not the RSI, the MACD, it's just been having these little humps and it's not really gone negative. So that could be really good. And this pullback, let's see, not that much volume these past couple of days. So yeah, actually, I think this looks pretty good considering the volume, which I'm not the best at analyzing. But, as you have these moves to the upside, you have increasing volume, this really big pullback. There's actually not that much volume traded on it. So, I think that maybe there was some spooking around it, and maybe that's why it dropped. But let's see, what was the news corresponding with that day? I don't know if you guys can see what's over here. 2 days ago is maintained at buy. Correction to D-Wave rating. This is from Dow Jones. Let's see what they have to say. This was on the 20th. This was on Friday. So Benchmark raised its price target on D-Wave Quantum to $8 a share. So that's above current price from $3 a share and maintained a buy rating. Palantir Technologies price target raised to $8 a share from $3, which is like kind of crazy because Palantir is way higher. Is maintained at buy benchmark. So I'm kind of confused about that because, I think that they've got this wrong. Yep, this has to be a misquote because Palantir is around 80, not around 8. So I think they just misquoted that. But maybe that's a bad example. And yeah, this is just, I think, the news that I have over here, but you guys can see it. So maybe scroll through this a little bit. This is correction D-Wave. So let's see what's below that. Analyst top technology picks. D-Wave Quantum receives a buy. So it's from TipRanks. So stuff will pop up. Benchmark maintains buy on D-Wave. Raises price to 8, target to 8. So I kind of read that. So yeah, I mean, I think that this looks pretty good. Regarding the volume in this pullback and holding above these highs. So yeah, much more risky than it was over here, but still looking pretty good. So hopefully that's helpful. And Saul requested BBAI, so I should add, but that was after Sweet Lovely. And so Sweet Lovely has some other, actually before I add stuff to it, I don't want to clutter this too much. So I do have QBTS, and I don't think that I have this added to the DGen ed list. So I'm just going to do that just to have fun, keep an eye on the stuff I go over. So yeah, QBTS, and I thought there were some others that, let's see, I'll go over CLOV, and then I can come back and go over LAES. CLOV I've gone over before, so I'd be interested to see that. I think I was suggesting it could go higher, but being cautious because it had gone higher. Maybe I'm completely wrong about that. Oh, but I think, yeah, I was talking about a pullback, wasn't I? I can't remember the last time I talked about it, but I feel like I was talking about, you can see it in the chart. This is why it's kind of nice to like revisit stuff. And it's like, well, I don't remember exactly what I was saying, but just looking at the chart for CLOV, higher highs in the stock price, lower highs in the RSI. And so I was saying that this kind of looked a little bit bearish. It might be pulling back a little bit. And with that, maybe suggesting that there could be a pullback to any of these levels, I imagine. I drew this up to here, pivot point there. So yeah, I don't know when I drew this, but the evidence would suggest maybe around the end of October, because that's where this line is drawn. And yeah, I mean, it did just that. It did break down below this light blue uptrend, and it pulled down to just right around the 786, and also this yellow line at like 313, currently trading above that. Maybe this could be like viewed as a shoulder here, a head, and then another shoulder here, getting a bounce there. Yeah, and that could be, maybe this is going to be a little wonky, but if I'm just drawing this like that, this actually doesn't look so good. I might clean up some of the other lines just so we can see it a little bit better. But let's see. I'm just going to remove all of these levels except the 786 because that seems to be useful. And the 100%, why not? And so, yeah, that's a little bit cleaner. So from this, I'm going to make it, let's see. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to do this one here. I'm just going to make that a little bit thicker. Maybe not super thick, but thicker. And make it purple. To me, this looks like a left shoulder over here. The head of a king, with a nice little crown here. That doesn't mean anything. I'm just having fun with it. And then a right shoulder here. And then from that right shoulder, what do we get? We got a break through the neckline, a bounce and a retest, and a rejection from that uptrend. So I don't have a position in CLOV. Don't plan on establishing one. I am actually, maybe I want to zoom in on this because I don't have it lined up right here just right. So maybe if I kind of connect it like that, and then let's see, where's the other pivot point? Gotta zoom out a little bit to adjust this. I mean, it doesn't really change it. It seems to me like, yeah, I mean, if I just connect it to the lows over here, going through, let's see, I could make it a little bit lower, but yeah, I mean, it looks like, also this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red days, and yeah, I mean, maybe it's putting in a bottom, but this big wick here, let's try to think about this with the volume. Let's just consider that. So here with the bounce, really just like over here, there's not much volume. There was a lot of volume traded as it was dumping, and then it's just consolidated. And in my view, this does, look like a head and shoulders pattern that got a breakthrough, a retrace, and effectively got rejected. I mean, my line's not perfect, and if I were to make it perfect, this would still be above the line. But just with this big wick to the top side on this red day on Wednesday, I mean, it did bounce, it did reclaim that, and this kind of looks like, I don't know if it's a not like an abandoned baby or something like that, where it's forming a bottom, but just this big wick here, I would be cautious of this. And if I do a Fibonacci extension, So I'm just going to do it from the high here to like the armpit and then going up to the top of the shoulder. 100% retracement, which is effectively a measured move from here to here, and then taking that measurement from here to here. Another, and I can show you how that is, because I just recently realized this, that, you know, it's like that, and then you just move this over to that high. That's how you get that line, you know, pretty much exactly. But, you know, another way to do a measurement is to just do, you know, straight line down to the neckline and then move that over to, you know, where it breaks down from this line. And that could be bringing price to 128. So I feel like, you know, ballpark, this could be, you know, right around 150 plus or minus 25. That's, you know, a 50% drop in the price from right now. But yeah, I think generally this doesn't look so great. But I could be wrong. It did pull back to the 786, but it just looks like a head and shoulders pattern. So I mean, for me, like, I'm not in this. If I had to either go long or go short or sit on the side with this, if I had to, you know, do something, including sit on the side, I would 100% sit on the side, because it did pull back to the 786, so it could be bouncing. But other than that, which is not really that much, this seems like more bearish. So I would lean more bearish. I guess if I had to go long or short, I'd go short. But I'm not going to. I'd rather stay on the sidelines because it did get a nice pullback. But, I mean, you could do a retracement from these lower levels, and maybe it's not so significant. But, yeah, I would think that this is probably going to $2 a share, let's say, or at least to retest this prior low, or the low over here where there's the bounce around like 250. So I say it's risky. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm sure not what you want to hear, but that's just what I'm seeing in it. And yeah, big volume on this dump. It, like, contrary to that, I don't know, contrarian, I want to say contrarian, but contrary to that, you have, you know, big volume here, big volume on pullback. I don't know, and then I'm not the best at volume analysis. Big volume here, consolidation, but then you have this like topping signal, bearish divergence. And on that topping day, there was a lot of volume, but it, like, you know, wasn't able to put, like, close at a new high, get above this 428.5, which I did mark as a line. We did get a close above it, but we couldn't get a close above the high from that day, like the confirming close. So yeah, so kind of rough. There is this gap here, but that really just corresponds with like 428.5, this line here. So anyways, hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to move on to the next one though, so I don't get too distracted. BBAI, Saul requested that, so I will go over that as well. I think I've seen Chart Norris, I believe, talking about this on X. I'd recommend following him. I think that he does a lot of really good analysis. I guess I've looked at this. Yep, but it's been a while. This, yeah, it's like sometimes I draw lines like this and it's like, well, it happened way faster than I expected. That doesn't usually happen. Yeah, I was kind of expecting a retest down here, bounce up. Got that bounce up. Now it's kind of retesting this downtrend here. And this looks, Colin Gladman in his video from yesterday, he went over like kind of talking about how you would tell if something is a double top or if it's going to continue higher. And that was related to volume. And so, you know, here you have this high, a lot of volume, and ends up pulling back. And you get back up to that, nearly getting to that level, but not quite. But there's actually more volume. And so what he was talking about with a double top is if you have, you know, a peak and there's a lot of volume, and then you get back up to that level and there's not a lot of volume, that could mean that it's a double top because there's just not enough pushing it higher. And so even with this volume though, it wasn't able to get back to these highs. And so, yeah, I mean, I could see it kind of pulling back to, I don't know, this downtrend that I have, it basically did pull back to that. It bounced higher. But yeah, I mean, maybe $3. I think that, let's see, just look up the company. Big Bear AI stock skyrocketed this week. Yeah, and so with this, though, thinking about that, big move up. This is kind of a topping signal, though, pretty big red there. I feel like, it could be pulling back to 2. So that's something to be concerned or considerate of. But, I think that $3 might be acting as support. It has been putting in higher lows. And, like the MACD here has just been like really kind of muted. So I think it's probably going to break one way or the other. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is probably going to continue higher. 10% up on Friday. And yeah. But I mean, this, it's like if I draw a trend line, from the high over here, connect it to the high over here, maybe it just needs to consolidate a little bit around 3 before, it has enough, power to break through, around 420. Also, that being a key psychological level for degenerates. So, yeah, I mean, I think it looks good, but I would recommend, I might actually just pull up stuff from his profile. So let's see. I'm going to go to Mr. Chart Norris, great person to follow, and go through the search and BBAI. Let's see what he's posted. He's been bullish on it. And so this is from June 29th. I'm going to do the latest. Yeah, I saw this today. I like that. So this is like a Big Bear Palantir kind of play. And so he just, I guess, searched this with Grok. And so they have a strategic partnership where they integrate their AI and data analytics capabilities. This partnership aims to enhance their offerings in defense, intelligence, and commercial markets by combining Big Bear AI's observe, orient, and dominate modules with Palantir's Foundry platform. And additional information, Big Bear AI provides data analytics solutions with a focus on government and defense sectors. Palantir is known for its data integration into AI platforms, serving both government and commercial clients. Also, Palantir is not yet at $100 a share, so I think there's probably some more upside with that. Recent posts on X suggest ongoing collaborations, particularly with military branches, which could benefit both companies. And so this is in reference to an Unusual Whales tweet about Palantir, and Anduril are in talks with companies including SpaceX, OpenAI, which I find kind of funny because it's like OpenAI tension with Elon and stuff. But, I don't know. I mean, I would think that would be kind of controversial for Elon. But to form a consortium that will jointly bid for U.S. defense contracts. And so here, BBAI processing, and this is from December 18th. He reposted this on Friday. BBAI, $5 processing. And so did it go up to $5? No. And so, what he's seeing here in this chart that he posted on the 17th, reposted on the 19th, is that this is a cup and potential handle forming. And so we've got, the cup here, and then this, maybe kind of following this purple line, being kind of wonky. Coming up here. And then so this would really just be, I would just want to kind of like shift this like that. And then that would be kind of, what he would be talking about with this. So, right now it looks like we're in kind of dip buy mode. But it could be, some more time to the, or, maybe this is the handle right there. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like this is, like seems like one that's good to average into at $3 a share. I'm going to look at some options. Actually, maybe rather than looking at the options table, I'm going to look over at unusual whales. Oops, I don't want to do this over here. Okay, so, and I'm going to go to my TRL list, which I need to clear some of the stuff off. Let's see. I don't know if I can. Oh, crap. I'm just going to clear. Gets kind of wonky when I do one. I'm just going to clean this up so it doesn't get too cluttered. Okay, bookmarks. I want to go to TRL. I can't remove those for some reason. Sorry about this little bit of housekeeping. And so I'm just going to search BBAI. Look this up. Premium. So that's looking pretty good, considering it's the $3 stock. And so I'm just going to put both of these on the list so we can look at the data over $100,000. And hey, maybe I'll do this $4 one as well. We can look at 3 contracts real quick. And so, I guess I'll go over the ones that expire in January 1st, and there's one in March that's maybe a little bit more appealing. This is 1 day for the premium, 1 day over here. Price going up along with calls, net call premium, and then net put premium is just staying kind of flat. And what we can see from the historical information over here, hundreds of thousands of dollars traded, or in total premium traded over the past, within the past couple of weeks. And so we can see that the last time, hundreds of thousands over here. And so really before it was over 100,000, open interest was less than 9,000. Now let's take a look. What is open interest? It's gone up by about 5,000 contracts. So that's looking good in that sense. If we look at this on the 30-day time scale, I like to do that just to get kind of better idea of it. Big move. And this is the premium, the average fill for the premium. And this to me, I'm not going to drag my mouse over it because it will get that pop-up. But, well, maybe I will real quick. But this looks like maybe it's forming like kind of a wedge, a high here, trend line. Maybe that's a wedge. Could be breaking out to the upside. And and if I look over at the $4 call, this expires also in January. Similar kind of pattern there. Let's look at the premium traded on this, hundreds of thousands of dollars, nothing in the millions. But if we go back to, this kind of buys over here, open interest was less than 8,000. Now it's around 12,000, gone up by about 4,000 contracts. So that looks good. For me, I like 6 months into the future, at least, just so I have some wiggle room. But this $3 call that expires in March, this one, let's see, has had hundreds of thousands of dollars in total premium traded on it. Going back to here, it was about 700 contracts open interest. Now it's over 5,000. So this looks good to me. And, we've really just seen a lot more volume traded on that. But for me personally, and also, I need to look at that data some more. What is the premium on something like this? It's less than $100, so we're right around $100. So that to me is manageable. It's trading right around $3 a share. And actually, if we look at the chart, I think we could probably find a better level that I think it could be going to. If Mr. Chart Norris is talking about $5 loading and there being a pivot high over here just below $5, $5 seems like a good call to potentially consider. If one wanted to get into options, I'm not recommending it. I am just curious, looking into the data. And so looking at some more BBAI, let's see, looking at premium. And I'm curious if any of these are for June. Probably not, but that's kind of the expiration time frame I like. About 6 months in the future. Okay, this is June, $3 call. That's going to be more expensive. I think we could look for, this is what I was looking for, $5 call that expires in June. This is still actually, I'm kind of confused. Why is this one with a much higher strike, around $1? Whereas this one with a lower strike is still around $1, but it's $1.50, 50% more than this. I don't know. Let's look at both of them. And yeah, I mean, I'm not in any of these. I'm not necessarily thinking about getting in any of them, but I'm just kind of curious. Maybe this is something of interest. I'm interested. But I think $3, it's all like this is already in the money. Closed at 311. I think something that's out of the money is potentially more interesting. This spike was a volume of 2,000, almost 500 contracts. Total premium traded on the day, $350,000. So that's a pretty good amount. There was a big spike here when that premium was high. And, following that, premium has come down, kind of forming, the wedge pattern a little bit with the lower highs. And if there's $350,000 on it, that's more than I'm trading with. So that's a lot of money, especially considering something that's like a $3 stock. I think that this could be an interesting play. So I'm curious about this. So yeah, I mean, I like for me, I try to trade contracts more just because I'm not just like endlessly buying shares. And I have an exit strategy, and this exit strategy would be like June 20th. And this is, pretty reasonable in my view. Closing, on, let's look at the day, the 1 day. Close, right around $1. The average fill at the end of the day on Friday was 96 cents. So yeah, if we look over at this in the data, sorry if I'm like going too deep into this, but if we look at the June calls over here, you can see calls up there, $5 strike. Let's look at this. If I wanted to, buy this, yeah, it looks like it'd be, actually be like around $110 or $1.10 for this contract. That's the ask. The last fill, was 96 cents, which is supported by the unusual whales data. So yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued by this one, but I am not necessarily looking to add to positions, but maybe I want to add this to the options weekly video. So I'll just write it in my notepad, which doesn't necessarily mean anything. But yeah, I'll get back to your guys' list. Sorry for rambling on about that. And let's see. And yeah, so sweet, lovely. Hopefully that was helpful. Yeah, no problem. Got a stop loss, so that's good. Good to stop losses suck. And like one of the things that I've been, for a while, maybe like a month, I was like, okay, when I enter a position, I'm going to do a stop loss. But then I realized it was just like, I'd fade into it as it goes lower, and then I'd sell at a loss. And then I just kind of realized, well, what I should do is just like wait for, options orders to be filled and get into, long dated, so I have plenty of time in case I'm wrong, contracts. And that's been working out really well for me so far. I haven't had any net losers. I've had a couple that did, have small losses, but overall for the contracts that I was holding, net winners. But I'm sure I'm going to have a pretty big loser at some point, and I'll be documenting that in the options video that I put out on Saturdays. And Ricardo, BITF, yeah, I'll throw it up here. And so I'm going to wait before throwing Porch up here just to make sure I get to the other ones that people have requested. I'm going to try to go through them in order. And so I'm just going to scroll up to the top of the chat. So I did went over BBAI. So Hydro Hustla Nursery was asking for Lucid, so I'll go over that one. Which I feel like there were some moves with it recently, yeah. But I wasn't following it. I think actually maybe, I don't think I did a video on it, but maybe I went over it during a stream thinking about this. I was probably thinking, well, that looks like a bear flag. It could be going lower. But then here, that looked like a bottom signal. Big wick to the downside. And yeah, then it just kind of started to hold, started to break out. So one of the things that's tricky about gaps, especially when they're very obvious like this, I think that, And you'd see this in a lot of stocks. I can't think of an example. But maybe SoFi was one of them, or I think one that I covered recently that moved up a good amount but didn't get to fill a gap. I don't know which one. I think it's one that I cover in the options videos, but I forget which ticker. But it's like, everybody sees this gap and it's like, oh, this gap is going to get filled. I'll sell it 328. But then it doesn't get there. And, it maybe gets sold at 3, where it's at now. And then there's some bag holders left there. And so really, I don't know, that's just more of a psychological kind of thinking about it. But, with this big move up almost 15% on Friday, yeah, and also, and kind of with the thesis of, with the new administration, with Elon being on board, with the prior, maybe it's administrations or the current administration, I think that there's been a lot of struggle to actually have momentum with stuff like EV infrastructure, things like that. And so there's been kind of a holdup in that, whether it's regulation or getting permits, whatever, all of that. And so I think that's going to be much easier for whether it's charging stations, EV stocks, whatever. And I think it could be a scenario where it's like a rising tide lifts all ships. And I kind of view, I don't know what it was that not like red pilled me, because I feel like I've already been red pilled or orange pilled, with Bitcoin, but just thinking about like AI plays, it might just be using Grok, because I recently got premium and just been getting more familiar with AI and just kind of more casually using that. I feel like, and also with, whatever side of politics you're on, I'm not going to talk about that, but just like in thinking about the new direction with the administration and kind of like being technologists. And actually, yeah, I posted this, and this is really inspired by, let's see, I'm going to go first to the channel to see if I posted it. I recommend this video. I just think he talks about being in this banana zone, which is like, it wasn't Republicans really that won the election. It wasn't Democrats that lost. It was, both Republicans and Democrats lost to technologists. There was like this coup led by the technologists. And so I just think that's a really good video. And on X, on my page, I made this. I don't make that many memes, but I just like kind of inspired by what he was saying, Democrats and Republicans, technologists, saying, I am the government now. I think that we're kind of at the beginning of an industrial revolution. And I think that, anybody who's like being bearish right now, maybe, there are going to be some pullbacks and stuff. We saw that a little bit on Wednesday, but I just feel like, we have, developed enough EVs, but not enough for a revolution. We've developed charging stations, whether that's with Tesla or other companies, but not enough for like a revolution. And then with self-driving, that would relate to Luminar. I've gone over them. They're taking a beating. And then also, full self-driving with Tesla, robotics with, Optimus, and AI. I think that things are really going to start accelerating, and Bitcoin, crypto, the talk of Bitcoin strategic reserve. From what I saw of Trump at the Bitcoin conference or whatever it was, he didn't say Bitcoin reserve. He said stockpile based on the government's current holdings. And so I think that getting excited about a reserve, that's maybe a little hopeful. I think about the stockpile. Maybe that could segue into a reserve. But there are just all these technologies, and not just, like Bitcoin as itself, but just the underlying technology of blockchain. I think that it's just a really exciting time. So I think that things could be going a lot higher, and that, rising tide could lift all boats, lift all ships, and Lucid could be one of those. And so, yeah, I mean, I would first look forward to see how it behaves around 328. Maybe it gets rejected there, gets a pullback, and, I could see it maybe pulling back to this line around 275. See if that holds as support, if it does get rejected from 328. But if not, could be going a lot higher. And one thing that I can do is from this, I can do a Fibonacci extension, I think. So from, the low here to the high here and then down to this low, that would suggest, basically this measurement of a move, that would put the stock price around $4. So, if it blows past 328, it could be getting up to around $4. Maybe then it would find some resistance, maybe pull back, find 328 as support. That does correspond with the highs over here. So that could be acting, as support. That would make sense. And then maybe the 1618 here, and that, let's see, would be around 540. And that looks like, it'd be kind of corresponding with the highs over here. And I'm not going to talk about the 2618, but that's around 750. So we'll got to get through these levels first. So yeah, 328, see how it behaves. And I think $4 is realistic. 540 is hopeful without, pullback or some sort of consolidation. Could be consolidating in here where there is that gap. So maybe 275 is a floor, or 250. I got that yellow line there maybe for a reason. But it did kind of launch off of that over here. So I don't know that it would be pulling back to 250. This line, this whatever 786, what this is drawn from, 275. See these wicks going above it, wick going above it. That seems like also a wick going up to it, hitting a high of 273. I think that level, could be notable. Maybe if it does get rejected from 328, it pulls back to 275. And that 786 is based on this retracement. Maybe take that with a grain of salt because we did break lower than it. But yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. And let's see, Canoo is the next one I'll go over. Just trying to do these in order because sometimes I get out of order with them. Yeah. This is a sad chart to look at. Yeah, and I feel bad. A lot of stocks I was covering a lot more frequently. I think I just kind of started to get burnt out, and also I haven't made a plug video in a while. I do cover it in the weekly options video, but somebody posted that. I talked about, whatever price target to the upside or that it could be going that high because there's a gap there and that it's just come down. He's like, well, you put out so many videos since then. It's like, well, I mean, I'm now trying to understand the market, same as everybody else. And, I'm going to be wrong with it sometimes. Yeah. Oh, this downtrend clearly broke below that 8 cents. Dang. Neck. Ugh. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. This one's just 8 cents. Yeah, because, they had a reverse split over here. This was 1 for 23. Gave it a nice bounce, but then it faded. Broke below that low. And yeah, this trend line, who knows how significant it is based on this low over here that did have a wick breaking below it. But I find this to be pretty interesting, trading around it, going below it a little bit. And then here, it clearly breaks below it, bounces, retests, gets rejected. So retrace to the scene of the crime. Doesn't look so good. I think it's possible it does go back up to that downtrend like it did over here. I think percentage-wise, that would be a pretty big move, 400%, getting up to 44 cents. But not all of them are going to be winners, and that's something that I'm, recognizing a little bit with ChargePoint. Benjamin's always asking about Blink charging, and there's also EVgo. There's also, of course, Tesla. Not all of them are going to be winners. And so, yeah, I mean, maybe charge point goes to 0. Maybe it ends up getting delisted. I mean, I don't know as much about Blink as I do a charge point. I follow charge point more closely. I really don't know much about EVgo, but yeah, I mean, I hope that it doesn't go to 0, but all of them, it's possible that they do. But yeah, I guess kind of an example, a real life example. I've never seen a Canoo vehicle out on the road. I live in a pretty small town, too small for me. I need to get out. But at the local grocery store, I guess it's not local grocery store, the regional supermarket store that I go to for my groceries, they have some. They all of them pretty much have Tesla charging stations, but at least the one that I shop at has a couple, at least a couple charge point charging stations. So it's like I see them in the real world. So I feel like that gives me a little bit more conviction with that. But this, yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, it's the tough thing. It's best to cut the losers, and and even if it's like, let's say you put 1,000 into something, and it's like, well, crap, I'm 90% down. I might as well just keep holding it because why not? But walking away with $100 is better than walking away with 0. And so I learned kind of that tough lesson with Fisker, but I also kind of felt like I had a responsibility to hold it a little bit longer. And I had sold some covered calls, so I think I had to hold it a little bit longer. But yeah, I didn't dump when I thought it was bearish. I made videos about it saying that I thought it was bad, and I was still holding at the time. Then I cut losses later with Biora Therapeutics. Made a video that I thought it was bad. Unfortunately, it was bad. And I was planning on exiting, and I did over time. And I walked away from that with pretty big loss, but not life I don't want to say life ending, but like career ending or trade market ending for me, participation ending. It wasn't like that, but it was a tough lesson. But it was better to walk away with some cash than with no cash. And yeah, but yeah, 8 cents. That's a bummer. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll go on to the next one. Let's see, Casey. Let's see. I think I've got that up here. Whoa. Yeah, so this is a big move to the upside. So, I view this as being kind of risky. I would be reluctant to get in it. But it does look like it's consolidating up here, so that does seem like it could be a bull flag. And let's see. Got kind of this high over here at 10.13, hasn't pierced that level. Might be good to look at it on the weekly time frame, because then maybe we could get a little bit better idea of like the volume behind this moves. And so kind of like what Colin was talking about as far as considering volume when determining if something is a double top or if it will continue. So what we see over here, 3 big weekly candles, green candles, red reversal candle with a big wick to the upside. And so with that, we see the volume, going up as it's going up basically, and then a lot of volume up here, big spike there. And then it starts to come down. And so, yeah, this is really just like a reversal. It opened above that high, closed lower, and yeah, this, I guess, was the opportunity to get out, lower volume the next day. And yeah, it's tough for me to like look at this stuff like, or sorry, the next day, I meant the next week. But yeah, this came down. Okay, and then so now we have this to compare with that. And so like with this, this is like a blow off top. You can think of it because we're not back at that level. The high is, maybe I'll just put a line there right here at the high was 944. So I got that marked correctly. We're right there. And what do we see with the volume? And this is the weekly volume. So going up to it, up to here, increase in volume, higher than it was previously. Then going up to here, higher than it was previously, so that's good. But then as we're getting up to this, volume goes down, but there's not a clear like reversal signal, like opening higher and closing lower. What we have here is like opening higher and closing lower on Thursday, but then reclaiming a lot of what was lost that day. Big wick to the downside. Buyers are stepping in. So, and this is on the weekly. On the weekly, I keep saying, I think I'm talking about daily, but it says week right there. This to me looks like buyers were stepping in. Buyers stepped in on what I believe, I'm going to switch over to the daily now, like the dips that we saw Tuesday, Wednesday, and then, gap up, closing above that prior, that was, and even just looking at this was a Friday, I guess, March 31st of 2023. And then, Monday, opened higher, wicked up, put in a topping tail there. And so that more bullish high from that Friday, that weekly close, that weekly high, we closed above that. By we, meaning I am not in this, just retail in general. I think that this seems like it's probably a bull flag, but if it does pull back, where could it pull back to? I'll just do kind of a, boring old Fibonacci retracement from the low of 202 up to the high of, I think, 977. And so I'll add some levels to that. Let's go up to the 618 and the 50. And maybe it could be coming down to around $6 a share, but I think this is more likely to be a bull flag, continue higher. Maybe it comes down to find support around here. That would be around 7 to 750, let's say. So maybe that's something to look for. But I think that this looks pretty good. But I know nothing about the company. Maybe I'll read about the Cloud, a China-based company. And also, I am bullish on Chinese stocks because I think they're going to release more stimulus. And let's actually this is a Chinese stock, so I'll further the DD with this. This applies to BABA. This applies to, these are some of the, I don't know if you guys are curious. I could show some of the images that I was considering for thumbnails. If you notice, a lot of the grok stuff, I like to use this word. I kind of have a little style with my grok images. But anyways, let's see. When is China expected to release more stimulus? And so I've already asked Grok this multiple times, so hopefully Grok's not annoyed with me. This is from 15 posts, 8 web pages, including New York Times. Is this, I don't know, CNBC? I don't know what these other ones are. But whether or not credible, mainstream or not. But China is expected to implement further stimulus measures in 2025, focusing on more proactive fiscal policy and an appropriately loose monetary policy, marking the first significant easing in monetary policy stance since 2010. This shift was announced after a Politburo meeting with plans to enhance policy stimulus to spur economic growth, stabilize the housing market, and boost domestic demand. I feel like China kind of recognizes they've made some mistakes. They're trying to reverse them. The specifics on the size and detailed implementation of these measures were not fully outlined, but there is a clear indication of an intent to ramp up support, especially in light of the economic challenges like the property market crisis and weak consumer confidence. I'm going to like that. I might also follow up with in which quarter of 2025 is stimulus expected. And so based on available information, China is expected to release more stimulus in the second or third quarter of 2025. So that's later than I was expecting with my NEO calls that expire in June. So that makes me a little nervous, I guess. This expectation is derived from analyses suggesting that Beijing might turn to demand-side stimulus measures funded potentially through Beijing bond deal. Does this relate to Jack Ma being back in the spotlight? And Jack Ma is the CEO, and I believe founder of Alibaba. And so this, some speculation here. The relationship between Jack Ma's return to the spotlight and China's expected stimulus measures in 2025 is not directly established through explicit policy announcements or official connections. However, there are several contextual links and speculations. So some historical context. Jack Ma's public criticisms of Chinese regulators in 2020 led to a significant regulatory crackdown on tech companies, including Alibaba, which Ma co-founded. After keeping a low profile for several years, Ma's recent appearances could be seen as a sign of thawing regulatory environment or a shift in government priorities, potentially aligning with broader economic stimulus plans to rejuvenate the tech sector. Economic stimulus in tech sector, given that one of the focuses of the expected stimulus involves supporting innovation and high-tech industries, Ma's return could be interpreted as a signal, that's how I'm taking it, that the government is looking to mend fences with key tech figures to boost confidence in the sector. His visibility might be part of a broader strategy to improve the image of China's tech industry both domestically and internationally, which could be crucial for the success of stimulus measures aimed at tech innovations. Market sentiment. There's speculation in posts on X that suggest Ma's public activities might relate to upcoming plans for Ant Group, his fintech company, possibly hinting at IPO or other major business moves that could align with or be influenced by broader economic policies like stimulus. However, these are based on rumors and speculation rather than confirmed plans. Symbolism and morale. Jack Ma, as well as a well-known entrepreneurial figure, returning to public view could serve as a symbolic gesture to signaling, that the era of stringent oversight on tech moguls might be easing, thereby aiming to lift the morale of business community. This could indirectly support the effectiveness of stimulus by encouraging investment in entrepreneurial activities. It is important to note that while these connections can be inferred, they are speculative without direct statements from Chinese authorities or Jack Ma linking his public return explicitly to the stimulus plans. But, of course, I'm not surprised by that. Of course, it's speculation. I don't think China would be clear about that or allow Jack to be clear about that. Therefore, while there might be an indirect relationship with Ma's increased visibility aligns with or benefits from economic policy shifts, concrete causation or policy-driven announcements involving him and the stimulus are not evident from the available information. Sources for this analysis include posts found on X and web articles discussing both Jack Ma's public activities and China's economic policy direction. And I'm just going to ask out of my own self-interest, how does this relate to the performance of NEO stock? And the relationship between Jack Ma's return to the spotlight and NEO's stock performance is indirect, but can be contextualized through several lenses. Dang it, all these bullet points. I don't know that I'm going to read all of these, but maybe I'll just read the top two. Jack Ma's increased visibility might generally boost market sentiment towards Chinese tech and EV companies, including NEO. His presence could signal to investors that the regulatory environment for tech innovators might be softening or stabilizing, which could be positive for stocks like NEO. And so economic stimulus in the EV sector. China's planned stimulus in 2025 is expected to focus on boosting high-tech industries and domestic consumption, sectors where NEO operates. Stimulus measures could include incentives for electric vehicles, purchases, infrastructure development for EVs, or support for tech innovation, all of which could benefit NEO by expanding its market and supporting sales growth. Specifically, posts on X suggest that Chinese government might increase support for EVs, with some users anticipating that NEO's battery swap technology could become integral to national green initiatives. This could translate into more favorable conditions for NEO's business model, potentially driving up stock performance. And so I'm just going to read this one because I feel like investment and funding, although not directly linked to Jack Ma, the general sentiment that the regulatory clampdown on tech might be easing could lead to new investments or favorable financing conditions for companies like NEO. If Ma's return is perceived as a green light for tech investments, this could indirectly benefit NEO by improving its access to capital markets or investment opportunities. So I think that's pretty cool, but I don't want to bore you guys anymore with that. So unless you guys want me to just ask questions, we can just kind of do a little session on that. But I do have some more stocks to go over. So Porch, let's see. I think hopefully I didn't skip over. Yeah. So I'll go over Porch, which is not Porsche. I always thought it was Porsche, but it's not. It's Porch. I don't know how you pronounce it. But yeah, I think I went over it last time, and I think you might have left by the time I'd gone over it. I guess I was suggesting maybe like a measured move or something up to there. Let's see. Maybe look at this on the weekly. Putting in higher highs. I feel like, we've got kind of, I feel like this could be at some resistance, with these highs being there. And with that, this kind of has formed an inverse head and shoulders, with this being left shoulder, head, right big shoulder. So it's kind of a lumpy giant or whatever, inverse giant. And so this does look like it's getting rejected here. I could see some of a pullback, maybe coming down to like 450 around there, really just relating to kind of the highs over here. And maybe we want to do, let's see, I'll do a fib extension and then I'll do a retracement. So just going from the low here to the high here and then coming down to this. Matches, that's 100%, makes sense. And then maybe I want to do just a Fibonacci retracement. I feel like it's going to pull back, but I think that this is bullish. And I would think like bigger picture, longer term, this is the weekly time frame that I'm looking at. I mean, what's a level that matches up with that, like 450? Probably the 382. It's a little bit lower, the 236. That's too high, and that's not even really a useful level. But yeah, the 382 did pull back to 446. So what I'd like to see, I guess I'll kind of draw it out, is I'd like to see kind of like the formation of a flag here. I don't know how long it would take to form. And, I would think that this would be like a bull flag. And so if it consolidates here, above 450 would be good. I think that it could be breaking out. And with that, we could get a measurement from this. Just looking at this Fibonacci extension, 1618 is at $8, 2618 at 1227. But we could also just get a measurement from the base of the head here, straight up to that neckline, and then I'll just kind of extend it over here. That would match pretty nicely with $8 a share. So yeah, I feel like this could be consolidating between around 530, let's say. That's the 100% extension from this Fibonacci. So between 450 and 530, I think it could be consolidating there. and then, break in higher to 8. Maybe it takes, this is on the weekly time frame, so maybe it takes until April to really consolidate there and break out, but I don't know. It could be going quicker than that. That's on the weekly. If I switch over to the daily, I mean, this could be, I'll take a couple months off of it. Maybe January, see what happens with January. Maybe it could be breaking out. But I've also definitely seen patterns like this where it's like, oh, it's an inverse head and shoulders. It's definitely going to be breaking to the upside, feeling pretty confident about it. And it just takes forever. It fades and it doesn't play out. So yeah, I mean, I look for it to hold 450. So hopefully that's helpful. The EV charging stocks will merge. Yeah, it's possible that there could be mergers with them. But I feel like, I wonder, or maybe some sort of partnerships. I don't know. But like, yeah, with EV charging, it's like, I think like EV stocks, it's interesting. I'm just responding to Saul's comment about maybe the EV charging stocks will merge. Or that yeah, Tesla could, I feel like Tesla, I don't know. I feel like Tesla, I don't know, because, yeah, I don't, and also, I mean, we could think about like, what's the market cap of like Canoo? It's like 8 million. So yeah, I don't know, like, I don't know, because I mean, like what Tesla's bought in the past, I'm not really that familiar. I know that like Solar City, like Elon had kind of started, I think, with a cousin. I'm not sure exactly, but I think it was like a family member's business. And then he just kind of bought it, merged it with Tesla. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Elon gets really involved in, the design of the vehicle, Cybertruck, very involved with that. And I think that he gets really excited about that. And I feel like, and, kind of maybe to a fault, with like the lights for Canoo, that's Canoo. It's very branded, stylized. And so I feel like a company acquiring something, a company like that, is, not really, like Tesla would have a hard time putting their brand on it when it's already branded for Canoo. And another thing, they had this reverse split over here, 1 for 23. I just saw this. This is from Tip Rank, so I'll get a pop-up. But yeah, Canoo announces 1 for 20 reverse split. Here, this is from Reuters. I think I always mispronounce that. Canoo announces 1 for 20 reverse stock split effective December 24th. So that's going to be effective on Monday or on Tuesday, which is a half day trading. And yeah, I mean, so we can see, what happened with the last time they did a reverse split. It went up over 200%, 267% over the course of like 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. Like less, like a little over 1 week. And I was just talking about with Canoo that it could be maybe going up to this downtrend, and that would be like a 400% move. So yeah, I mean, maybe it could happen, but I think a word of caution around this is kind of with Mullen. They've had a lot of reverse splits, and I actually on their last reverse split, I bought like 1 share just to swing it, but it went down. And so just because something happened in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen again. If people expect, oh, well, this reverse split that happened, 9 months ago, it went up 200+%. It's probably going to happen again, but maybe it doesn't. I mean, so maybe that's like a way to swing it though, from like 8 cents. I mean, yeah, I mean, I could thinking I could buy 100 of these. That's just $8. Maybe that's a fun play. Are there options on this? They're going to be boring. And also, I mean, it's got, the ones here are from prior contracts. So I don't know. I think it's risky. Probably going to zero, but maybe this is, I have to buy a minimum of 100 shares when a stock is below $1 a share. It's like I could buy 100, risk $10, and maybe turn that, maybe 4x that, or maybe just 2x it and walk away. Maybe that's a fun swing, but I say, maybe I could do this. I don't tend to do that stuff. But yeah, 420% potential to the upside. Or 300, maybe I should be a little more conservative. 200, I mean, that could be kind of similar to what happened before, but then it just faded below. So yeah, I mean, if they do a reverse split, it doesn't solve their problems, and less than a year later, they have to do another reverse split. That makes me feel like this plan wasn't good. This plan, it's like the saying about the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And so with that being said, doing the same thing over again, if I expect the same result, I would expect a 200 plus move to the upside, getting back to this downtrend, and then a fade. That lasts 9 months before the next reverse split. So yeah, I mean, maybe there's a play there, but I think it's risky. So something to consider. And it's 1 for 20, so then like getting 100 shares at $8, that would be like getting, is that 5? I'd be getting 5 shares, at whatever price that would be. I'm struggling with math, and I don't want to pull up the calculator because I'm tired. I've been working all weekend. And so, yeah, I'll just pull up the other ones. Okay, so it looks like I've caught up to the list. BITF, I think I've got that up there. Bitfarms, I went over that a while ago. Wow. Moved up, and it's kind of sold off. I'm actually just going to clear off all this stuff. It's a little cluttered. I don't know if this looks bearish. Or maybe I could just ask Grok for his thoughts on this. But yeah, maybe there's a wedge here, but maybe this is a descending triangle, which could be breaking to the downside. Market cap of 800 million about. And there is this Bitcoin mining, Canadian-based Bitcoin mining company. Yep. So I'm actually kind of surprised that they're not doing so well because the other ones have been doing well. But yeah, I mean, if the other ones have been doing well, kind of surprising to see here. But yeah, let's see. What is the market sentiment around Bitfarms stock? Wait, is it BITF? The market sentiment around Bitfarms stock appears to be mixed. Some positive, some negative aspects highlighted from various sources. Analyst ratings have given Bitfarms a strong buy, suggesting optimism around the stock's future performance. The average price target for the stock is $6.38, which is Canadian apparently. So I don't know what that is translated into USD, indicating a significant upside potential from its last known price of $2.50. Yeah, so it's like about add $1 to the price, I guess. Volume and price action. There has been noted above average trading volume for Bitfarm, which could indicate increased interest or volatility in the stock. Some posts on X suggest that despite recent price drops or negative sentiment, there might be opportunities for growth, particularly if the stock can maintain or recover from current levels. Short interest. There has been an increase in short interest, which might indicate some bearish sentiment among investors, maybe some squeeze potential, with about 12% of the float being sold short. However, this is coupled with sentiment that the short interest isn't excessively high, which might not necessarily imply overwhelmingly negative view, but rather a cautious one. Investor trust in management, discussion on X reveal a level of distrust toward Bitfarms management due to unmet expectations regarding operational expansions. Also, I have read that I think the city of Vancouver is considering, doing some Bitcoin mining for energy-related stuff. And so anyways, continuing on, due to which could negatively impact investor sentiment. However, some investors see this as an opportunity, believing in the company's fundamentals despite short-term challenges. Could also be chasing a falling knife or a fading knife. Comparative evaluation. Some analyses suggest that Bitfarms might be undervalued compared to its peers, pointing towards a potential investment opportunity if one believes in the long-term prospects of the company. This perspective, however, is contrasted by concerns over past management decisions or potential or operational hiccups. Overall, the sentiment seems to be a blend of skepticism due to management and operational issues, which seem to be pretty fundamental to me. Pretty imperative to have good management, good leadership, and operations to be successful. Issues with optimism based on analyst targets, and potential undervaluation. Investors are advised to closely monitor Bitfarms' performance, management's strategic responses to past setbacks, and broader market conditions influencing cryptocurrency miners. I find this to be, I guess it did move up here. Yeah, this could be, it's getting ready to break out from this wedge. I guess what I would say is this low of 152, you don't want to see a close below 152. If we see a close below 152, maybe it's coming down to like $1. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess I would be interested to look at like data from unusual whales. That might be of use. So let's just see. I'm just curious, like the highest volume. No, I want to, because that's chasing sheep. I want to be looking at the premium, the big money, $44,000 on Friday. This is a call. This expired on Friday, so not surprising. There was a lot of premium traded on that day. One that's, maybe a little bit better, out of the money call, $2 strike that expires in February. So let's just look at that. Only 36,000 traded on Friday. But yeah, it's a Bitcoin miner and people are not willing to put hundreds of thousands on this. Total premium traded. If you're interested in Bitcoin mining, I think that there are much better players like Marathon Digital, like CleanSpark, like Riot and Hub8. Those are names that I hear more about. And so I'd be more bullish into those. And I think one of the Hut8, maybe I got that wrong, but I think those are probably better plays. This one seems like with all this stuff, oops, I was already in here, all this stuff from Grok, this just seems like if leadership is bad, leadership is fundamental, and if leadership is bad, management issues, that's what Grok is prompting, following it. Other crypto miners, it's suggesting go somewhere else. So I feel not so great about this, but like I said, this could be a wedge, not a descending triangle. And it did get a bounce, did get a little wick there. So, maybe it has potential from the close to get up to here, 40% move to get back to test that. And then maybe it gets a breakout. So yeah, I think that there's potential for this to break out, but I think that there's probably more risk than with other Bitcoin miners. So hopefully that's helpful. And let's see. Just trying to check the other Livepeer LPT crypto price prediction, 25x. More money is saying that. So let's see. LPT. Livepeer. I'm not seeing it. I see Liberty Prop Trust. So Livepeer. I'm not able to find LPT. I see this Livepeer. Yeah, so I'm having a hard time finding that one. And there was another one that was requested. And so I've been streaming for about an hour and a half. I might end it in a little bit. LEAS is less cease. I'm getting a little dyslexic there. Oh, I think I was reading the ticker. Sealsq Corporation. I don't know. And let's see this. So this potentially looks good. Potentially looks like a bull flag. And so from this, I can do Fibonacci extension. Let's say this is, a move to the upside, then a pullback. And so I'll do it from the low over here at 35 cents to 346 and then down to here. And that would suggest where it could be going to the upside, maybe $5. So potential, nearly 2x possibility with this. And that would correspond with, just see where the cursor is. That would correspond with this consolidation over here. So that would make sense for there to be some resistance there. Also makes sense that it's kind of around some resistance. Seeing this consolidation here, I think it actually looks pretty good. I think it could be going up to $5. So hopefully that's helpful. But, I also think it could be coming down to like 80 cents, pulling back to this top here. But yeah, I think $5 seems reasonable considering that it's consolidated like this. And this gap has not yet been filled. I used to think that, you want to have the gap filled so you're not leaving it behind. From what I've learned from Colin Gladman's videos, I think in reference to AMC, but also other stocks, when you have a gap up that shows strength, leaving it behind, you're maintaining that momentum. You fill that gap, you're kind of giving back that momentum. You're pulling back, not so great. And so, yeah, I could see this. And also we got like this little trend line here. I could see it breaking out, going up to 5. So, yeah, pretty intriguing there. And, yeah, 20 to 1. I always say the opposite direction because I think most, for Canoo, they always like list 1 for 20, and that's like, I think it's just like the phrase for, it's like, it's a 1 for 20 reverse split, or it's a 20 for 1 split, I guess. So it's like reverse. I don't know. I get confused with how they order it, but yeah, 20, 1 would go to, would become, or every 20 shares would get turned into 1 shares for Canoo. And yep, Horatio, take care. Have a nice night. And so, I'm glad it was helpful information, useful information. And so what I might do, unless more money gives me some clarification on live peer, or is that Liveperson? That's a crypto. Liveperson, LPSN, let's see. I stopped covering this because I cover it and then I post on X and then people accuse me of plagiarizing somebody else. It's like, it's just the data's here and I go over my analysis. Saw this breakout, made a video on it, and then it faded and broke lower. And I'm just not following up on it because people say I plagiarize. I swung that, made a very, very minuscule amount, effectively didn't break even, just a little bit above. And then this happened. And yeah, it's too speculative. And yeah, and it made me feel uncomfortable because it's like I'd make videos on it being bullish and then people be like, oh, you're copying this other person that's bullish. And it's like, what? Like, you're just sketching me out. I'm leaving. And yeah, now there are a bunch of bag holders apparently. So I'm not interested in this one because of that. But yeah, I am interested in one that I wanted to go over initially, but I started going over requests first. Oklo. This is one that I might add to the options video as well as BBAI. Just being intrigued by those. And I was hoping that since this one's not, hundreds of dollars per share, options might be a little bit cheaper. but they're still pretty expensive. But yeah, I mean, from over here, this high, it's just below that level. And really, what I could do is do a trend channel, which is just based on the averages. And so maybe I want to do that. I don't know. We'll see where I want to do that from. Just keep it going. Yeah, so from that high, could do it from there. If I do it over here, maybe it skews it a little too much, but I think that this is better over here because the upside, like to get to the top, to get to the breakout, is higher than if I were to do it to over here. I'm just going to go back. Yeah, that says that it's lower. So I like it like this better. Higher to get to the breakout, being a little more conservative. And I am just going to, I don't like those white lines. They're just a little too intense for me. Yeah, so this looks like it could be a bull flag. It could be breaking out. Yeah, so I really just kind of wanted to look at the options data from unusual whales to see if there's something. And also, too, look at this, as it's consolidated here, like the MACD has just been slightly negative, slightly red. It needs to flip green. What happened before when it was like, slightly red over here and then it flipped green? It went up. It was kind of boring for a little while, but from there, it went up, about 90% over the course of like a month or so, five trading weeks. And then it really took off. And so it was like, boring green, the MACD, and then it really kind of took off. Now it's been like boring red, just consolidating. I think that's really good. And yeah, so I think that this could be breaking out. So let's look at some. Oh, and actually, this is something that Colin does that, I'm going to do linear based on the linear scale. He usually does his charting on the log scale. But, I'm just going to draw from the low there, 535, up to this high. And then the low over here, just curious, was it this? It was actually a bit lower. I just want to make sure that is connected to that low. And so this low is actually slightly. So it's a low of 14, the low over here, 1731. So yeah, okay, that's the, move up, pull back. And so we can take a step back. Whoa, this is uncharted territory to see where that could be going for that 100% move. That's about a 2x from right now up to about $40. So that looks pretty good. I have to say I'm excited about this to learn more about it. And so let's look over at some unusual whales data. And that was OKLO. I want to say OKLA. Let's just look at all these contracts, sort these by highest premium. $1 million. So let's take a look at that one. Expiring in January. Another one over $1 million expiring in January. So let's just get an idea looking at these. Let's just look at the data. Okay, so looking over the past 30 days, premiums come down, gone up, and volume's been up, going up from there. And over the past 30 days over here, let's see, we have, price being kind of flat, but being kind of down, general, that's the yellow line. And then calls and puts, net, there's been more puts traded, it looks like. With a good amount being sold here, but then a good amount being bought back. So net, it looks like call premium is going up generally. And yeah, and this is like kind of new being traded. That's also in the money. Both of these are in the money contracts. Same kind of stuff here with multiple calls being traded, or $1 million total premium days. And so this one, lots of contracts traded on Friday, But we don't know if they were bought or they're sold. That'll become available a couple hours before the market opens, I believe, tomorrow morning. So yeah, I don't know if this is bearish or bullish. If we look at this other contract, we can see that we've had, an increase or total premium traded on Wednesday of over $1 million. It looks like that was a net increase in contracts, but then we had less than 8 million traded on Thursday. That was a net decrease. And then we had a over 1.5 million traded on Friday. Don't know if it went up or down. So this is kind of neutral territory. If I look up the other contracts, OKLO, just being intrigued by this, thinking that, $40 strike, that's the one that I would want to look at. And I would want to look at no sooner expiration than June 20th. And so June 20th, don't see any down here. June 20th, $25. But yeah, I'm just going to go for the one that I'm interested in. So I'm just going to go up here to the June 20th expiration, or maybe I would also consider August call, and I want to do a strike of $40, which is the max one. And so I'll add that to my little list. And also kind of curious to look at the August expiration just to give a little bit more wiggle room, and I will add that one as well. Okay, so let's first look at this June data. This, I don't know, the premiums come down, looks like it's bouncing. Premium though, for this is, it's kind of expensive. $300, dang it, for contract. Go to a $40 call here that expires in August. Nothing traded on that. This is a new one, it looks like. So yeah, I don't have any data on that, unfortunately. This one, man, bounced on Tuesday, it looks like, hitting a average fill of $1.70 on Tuesday. So that was like the dip buy opportunity. Yeah, I don't know. This $300 for this contract, too pricey for me, in all honesty, at least with the number of positions that I have right now. But this is one that I'd definitely be interested to watch if it does pull back, as it doesn't look like it's necessarily broken out just yet. So, I mean, although we could see this potentially having been a breakout, but it could pull back and retest. So do something like, pull back like this. And then that would be like, oh, premium's now below $2 a contract, or, let's see, maybe it's just lower. That's a good arrow. I'm surprised it held its form. And so that will be like the opportunity that retest to then establish a position, and then it go higher and break out. Although it could, following this breakout, go up and then pull back and retest. So maybe I'm just going to color this line, make it thicker, and make it, I'll do it yellow. Or maybe I'll do it orange. And then what I could see is from that arbitrary level up here, maybe like just around $30, being kind of psychological. And then maybe, from there, what I could see is something like, this, where it's a pullback to right around where the top of that channel would be. And then it bounces and then goes up to about 40. And so, yeah, I'll make that thicker, make that yellow though. And so, yeah, maybe I could see something like that happening with it. And I'll put a line at 30. Oh, wait a second. Oh, 30 would be up here. So, yeah, I'll adjust that to 30. And I'll make that a thick red line. And this would be pulling back to around like 25, something like that. Right around there, 24, let's say 24. I'll make this purple, 24. And yeah, so that's kind of what I could see happening. And so I think, like, for me, this is one that I want to watch, keeping an eye on those contracts. And if over the course of the next week or maybe 2 weeks it pulls back, I'd look to see if this contract returns to around, sub $2 a contract. That would be a time I'd want to start adding to it. But I don't have a position in it, don't necessarily plan on getting one, but I'm intrigued by it. And I'll probably include this contract, the $40 call that expires in June. I'll probably add that to the options video for next Saturday. That's OKLO, and that's $40. And I would also probably, I believe, do the BBAI $5 call. And so I would also consider that. But yeah, with all that being said, I've streamed for about an hour and 45 minutes, been at work the past 3 days, and it's been very boring, and also kind of had a bad interaction with a coworker at the start of my shift today, and then at the end of the shift, I tried to confront it, resolve it, and it was not well received, so I just kind of, I'll leave you alone. And it's kind of disappointing, but oh well, it's the holidays, I'm not going to worry about it. But yeah, if you guys have any last minute requests, I guess I could go over some, but I think I've gone over all of what was in the chat. But yeah, I might just throw up the thing and probably sign off just because I'm tired. My eyes are starting to close a little bit. And so yeah, I'll throw this up and maybe I'll just leave it there. As if you guys enjoy this, please make sure to stream. If you're not subscribed, which I assume all of you are, please make sure you subscribe. And also, it might be good to, I don't know if you guys have alerts on. I don't post that many videos these days. And so with that being said, it's like, maybe if I post one, it might be good to get that. But most of the stuff I do, I try to do after close. And my time frame is really like, it takes weeks for bottoms to form. But at the same time, like the BlackBerry video that I put out was spot on. Really proud of that. Could have made more money with it, but, I think it's kind of a speculative play, so it is what it is. But anyways, thank you so much for hanging out. And I will, let's see. I don't know that I'm going to have another video out tomorrow. I might just kind of focus on doing a video kind of giving a little bit of my backstory. If you guys are interested to learn more about me, and just kind of like what I doing with whether it's this channel, YouTube generally, with the market, because yeah, my background's probably pretty surprising. I've done some things that most people probably won't ever get to do, so thought I might share some of those stories, kind of being thankful for those things, but also during and following the pandemic, kind of realized I wasn't on a good career path. So, just interesting to share that. It won't be related to stocks, maybe a little bit, have some undertones, but just kind of to share, to be thankful, because, it's like, it's kind of a weird, not necessarily weird, but it's an interesting dynamic streaming, because you guys are getting to know me by, just how I talk and interact with your comments and stuff, the chat. And so it's like, I feel like you guys get to know me a lot better than I get to know you. But, there are, recurring names that I see with you guys, and I've gotten to know you guys through the stocks that you're interested in. And, and I feel like in a lot of ways we kind of share our agonies when things go poorly, and also celebrate each other's successes when things go well. And so, if you guys wanted to learn more about me, I thought I'd share. And then also kind of like, if you guys are interested in any of the topics that I go over in that video, I just kind of give a little bit of a summary. I could elaborate on them in more kind of focused videos on those topics. But also I don't want to push it if you guys aren't interested, just kind of to do, a video being thankful for things I've done in my life and thankful for you guys, thankful for the channel. And I have to say, it's been pretty crazy year with the channel. I started this basically in October of 2023, kind of, around the time that breakup was like really becoming concrete for me, and also recognizing that a different channel, which I'll talk about in the upcoming video, that recognizing, accepting that it was a failure. And so it's kind of like I had really put all of myself into the relationship, just for fun. I overdid it, so it's no big deal. And the channel, and just kind of coming to terms with those things, I decided to focus on doing just stock trading channel, just documenting like a trading journal. And that kind of picked up on some things. And then at the beginning of the year of 2024, my motivation was I'm just going to try to put out as many videos as I can each day. I was working Monday through Friday, getting off work, I think, let's see, in half an hour before the market closes, and, or actually, no. Yeah, half an hour before the market closes. And so I put out, as many videos as I could after work, but then my schedule shifted to 12-hour shifts. And so my schedule was not routine every week. That became harder to make videos. But through like the hours that I was putting in, I was able to put out enough content to monetize the channel. Was hoping I could actually make some notable money with it. But then I kind of recognized that in order to like beat the algorithms to get the channel to be profitable, I'd be having to put out a bunch of videos like chasing stocks and stuff. And that's not really how I like to make videos. And then I just kind of recognized, well, hey, if I'm interested in options, I can document my learning process in that. And that's kind of evolved from tracking Tilray calls, which I ended up losing money on. And then now, I more recently contracted, had tracked Tilray call, but I'm out of that now. And I think that, it's more of like a quality versus quantity, but that also ends up being more of me rambling and stuff. But yeah, you get videos like that BlackBerry video, which I think was I'm really proud of that one. But anyways, with that, I hope you all have wonderful weeks. I hope you have Merry Christmas Eve and Christmas, or any other holidays that you're celebrating. If you're not celebrating a holiday, I hope you just have a nice time with family, nice break from work, and, just nice little break from the screens for a day and a half, with it being just a half a day on Tuesday, full day closure for Christmas on Wednesday, and then back to normal Thursday and Friday. And so, I am working Thursday, so that kind of sucks, but that's the only day I'm working this upcoming week. And so, with that being said, have a wonderful week, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. And I'll have some more videos out later in the week, and I'll be active on X. I'm always on X, so, and if you're not familiar with my handle, it is listed at the top there, dgen_Ann, because I'm Andy. Just because DGen Ed was taken, Ed is the ape, but we're both apes. We're both primates. And if I do go over to my profile, in case you're not aware of it, DGen Ann for Andy, DGen Ed, so that's me. And that's probably the best way to get more casual interactions, but I also try to post on the community page on the channel. This video, I recommend watching it as far as crypto goes if you're interested in that. And then also Market Outlook from Colin Gladman. I recommend watching that as well. And I try to post fun stuff on the channel that's kind of inspired by stuff that I post on the channel. But I haven't done a plug power video in a little while other than the options ones. But yeah, closed above max pain. So I think plug power is looking pretty good. So yeah, and then also I love this style of images that I create with Grok. This I included, inspired by Raiders of the Lost Ark. I wanted faces to be melting, but I think, it's kind of like a PG rating for Grok. And so faces melting, maybe a little too gory. This, I don't know, basic white guy kind of looks like me a little bit, not really. But I was thinking, maybe I could get a number of these images and kind of have a nice little portfolio of caricatures to put on thumbnails, which I could extract using, remove background on the Mac that I have. This one, there is no falling knife. There was no falling knife, so hopefully people were buying the dips. Generally, I think that we're going to be seeing pullbacks at some point, but I think that we're still in buy the dip territory, and that means I think things are going to go higher. So hopefully you were able to take advantage of that. That's pretty cool. I made that image, if you couldn't tell, with Grok. Just Keanu Reeves' Neo, falling knife, and the Matrix in the background. So pretty cool there. But anyways, yeah, that was spot on. There was no falling knife. The dip got a bounce, and I think we're going to see light volume things floating up because it's going to be lighter volume trading with the suits on vacation, retail dominating. And so I think we're going to see some optimism in rising of things. And on that note, maybe I want to check out GameStop, Robinhood. I don't think I'm logged in here, so I think that I'm all right to just look at the chart. Actually, maybe I just look at GME, Robinhood. Overnight, up less than 1%, but it's above 30. I think that we're going to see this continue to move higher. Hopefully, we see sympathy plays like with AMC, but if not, it's okay. It's just discounted opportunities in my view. It takes time. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out. I am just rambling a bunch at the end here. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Yeah, comment on videos if you want a response. But I haven't been as good with responses lately. Been a little burnt out in all honesty. But X, I am definitely on there. So yep, this is my page there. Follow me there, and we can interact. You can see my posts and stuff. But yeah. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. And thank you, for a wonderful year. I'll be posting more, of course, before the end of the year. But it's been a great 2024. And that's because of you guys, because of the growth of the channel. I really appreciate you. So thanks for hanging out. Take care, you guys. Have a great start to the week and a wonderful, wonderful holiday week. Merry Christmas and all the other holidays.